I'm Ted, and this is my 2000 GMC Sierra 1500. It has a 5.3, it's four-wheel drive. I bought it, it had approximately, I'm going to say about 224,000 miles on the odometer, and it always had kind of a misfire at idle, and it would drive me nuts. You know, the guy I bought it from had changed spark plugs and whatnot. So I just kept assuming that could absolutely not be the problem. So I changed the fuel filter, I did the air cleaner, and I did numerous other little things. I cleaned all the grounds, and yeah, I mean, I just did the basic maintenance stuff. And then, you know, eventually I put some new valve cover gaskets on. They were the originals, and they were leaking really bad. And then I got to reading, and I decided to do the intake gaskets. So I got a set of Fel-Pro gaskets, and then I got all the corresponding gaskets to everything that plugs into the intake, including the map sensor, the EGR tube, and a handful of other little dills, especially the gaskets that go on the hot side of the EGR on the metal pipe, and where the EGR sandwiches to where the pipes come together on the passenger side right there in the front. So none of this was working. It was really bad at idle, especially after it warmed up for whatever reason. So it was really bugging me, you know, because you first started it up in the morning and it wasn't so bad, and I started thinking maybe it was lifters and this and that. I need an engine, and I was going crazy trying to figure this stuff out. So long story short, I went down to the auto parts store and I bought a set of 8 Iridium AC Delco spark plugs. I want to say they were $7.99 a piece plus tax, and these are the ones I got right here. I got the AC Delco, and then there's the number on them right there, so if you can see that. They come in a 4-pack. Now they're going to be gapped to 0.40, okay, and there's a lot of debate. And that's what I left mine at. My truck runs absolutely fine. There's no issues. And you really don't want to gap Iridium spark plugs because they're really brittle, and there's a very good chance you could break something. And they actually sell a tool, I believe, that you could put them in and it can gap them. But I don't have that. You know, you always want to check them with one of those little ring tools. You know, and as long as they're close, you're going to be fine. There may be some people that are going to say, oh, no, they got to be exact, but whatever. Mine were all within one whatever of each other. I don't know what the reading is on that thing, but so anyways, I switched those out, and then I also did a set of plug wires. Go grab that. I went with the Ultima Select. They were $56. Now they don't come with a metal boot, okay? That's why they're a little cheaper. So you just take your metal boot off your original ones, and then you swap them over to these, and there's no issues. And I don't know if my spark plug wires were bad. Right here, I don't know if you'll be able to see that. That's the original Delphi ones that came from the factory. My guess is that this thing was 100% original. I don't think that there's ever been any work done to this truck. I mean, every bolt, every fastener, every clip, everything was in the right spot where it needs to be. And usually when someone's worked on a vehicle, there's always a telltale sign something's not put back together right or whatever, okay? But on this thing, there's absolutely nothing that would point out to this thing has ever been worked on. And I heavy haul, and I know a lot of pilot car drivers, and I've seen a lot of these trucks have 400,000 or 500,000 miles on them with the original engine, and minus they've replaced the rear end or transmission once or twice. But my dilemma was this: I just didn't want to spend the money that they want for trucks right now. I believe that I bought the cheapest GMC Sierra 1500 where I live in Elko, Nevada. I paid $2,000 for this truck. Well, I actually paid $2,500, but I bought and flipped another truck. I profited $500 off that, and that's what went towards this. So me, the way I did my deal is I paid $200 for this, and then all the parts that I bought and everything to get it to where it's at now, I'm going to say I came back at that $500 that I'd profited. So It's whatever. It's still a good truck. I mean, you see a lot of dealerships. They'll have these with like 120,000 or something, like an '04 and '05, and they're wanting like 8 or 9 grand for these trucks. I mean, this thing isn't perfect. I got a headlight over here. I got a headlight over here that, you know, I got to replace these and maybe do something with the grill and some paint and stuff, but nothing too bad. But anyways, getting back to the point is, if you have a little misfire, like at idle, or like when you put it in drive and you have your foot on the brake, you turn the AC on, there's a little bit of preload on the engine, and it just has a miss, you have no check engine light, okay? The reason you don't have a check engine light is because there's nothing failing on the engine. Like the coils are good. All the knock sensors, the pink, whatever you want to call them, all the sensors are reading like they're supposed to. Now I have a Foxwell scan tool I bought on Amazon. It was $34, and I can see all the live data. I could see my O2 sensors flipping between the voltages. I could read my mass airflow sensor. I could read that. Now I did clean that with a can of this stuff, because that was the absolute first thing I did, was clean the mass airflow with some CRC cleaner, okay? Absolutely no change, whatever. Second thing I did was I pulled off the throttle body, okay? That thing was gunked up, and when I cleaned it, it actually had to relearn how to idle. It was idling at 3,000 RPM when I put it back together, okay? Now the right way to do it is to buy a new Velcro gasket or O-ring or whatever. I didn't, mine was fine. It looks like it's been replaced possibly, because it was blue. I'm not sure what color the OEM ones, but it was still pliable and whatever. So the auto parts store didn't have one. I was going to replace it, but they just didn't have one. It's fine, it's whatever. But is what I'm telling you guys is this, is if you have a miss, don't start reading the forms. Don't start getting in a frenzy. Don't start thinking you need an engine. This is exactly what happened to me. I overthought this, and you just need to go down and get you some AC Delco spark plugs. Put them in there and send it. And that's it. End of story. That's all you need to do. And this truck is freaking awesome. The other thing I had to do was, they told me the air conditioner didn't work. So I crawled under there after I'd bought it, and guess what? This has a separate belt for the air conditioner. And I bought the tensioner and the belt. It was like, I don't know, I want to say like $50 in parts. I can't be exact. It was a while back ago. And so I put that on there, and what do you know? The AC blows cold. But here's the other thing with these trucks too. You want to do the cab filters. The cab filters were absolutely disgusting, and I want to say that those were the original ones. There was pine needles, leaves, dog hair. I mean, I had to get my compressor and blow it out in there. I had almost no air coming out of my vents. And they're a pain in the ass to get that one bolt, because you have your tunnel where your transmission is, and it's very hard to get in. Now I'm going to tell you this, I didn't put that one back in. I put the other two back in, and that's that, because I'm just not going to put that other one back in. But these are very, very good trucks, okay? Like I said, this is a 2000. It's got about 224,000 miles on it. It shifts fantastic. The four-wheel drive works. I do have the ABS and brake light. I'm going to order the ABS module, okay? And depending on if they want a core or not, I'm going to make another video on how to repair this one that's in here if I don't have to send it back in, because I don't have a lot of time. I work a lot, and I was getting ready just to buy a new truck because I was tired of working on stuff. So yeah, like I said, if you guys want a good truck, these are very good trucks. If you find one it's got a miss, chances are they've got the wrong spark plug. Chances are, I mean, it could be your intake gaskets or the spark plugs. Those are the first two things I would check. I know there's a ton of people out there having problems, and all the mechanics say, oh, they just miss. Well, what they don't tell you is you need AC Delco spark plugs, the Iridium AC Delco spark plugs. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Those are the ones you have to have. Now let's talk about where I went wrong on this repair. I got in a hurry, okay? Okay, and these are all relatively easy to get to. Okay, the ones on the driver's side, the tip of the spark plug kind of faces towards the front part of the truck, and then on this side, on the passenger side bank, they face towards the back. Now I messed up. When I started it with the passenger side, the very closest one to the firewall, since I figured it was going to be the hardest one. I started threading it in. I swear I thought I had it threaded right. I'm not paying attention, and I'm cranking it down, and I'm like, uh-oh, this doesn't feel right. Now there's one of two things I could have done. Okay, I could have backed it out, and I might not have ever got it back in. This isn't the right way to do it, but let's do some quick thinking real quick. This thing's got 224,000 miles on it, right? I've got spark plugs that are rated to last between 60 and 100,000 miles. Okay, depends on who you are, and you guys can say whatever you want, whatever. But these things are going to last between 60 and 100,000 miles. So I drove it in home. I took my wrench. I said, just please. They're aluminum heads, you know, and the spark plugs are made out of whatever. But I just drove it in there until it seated, and I gave it a quarter turn. I'm probably gonna have a mechanic fix it, but at this point I don't want to mess with it right now. It's running, it's fine. I don't feel like it's gonna blow out, so we'll deal with that later on. I'm looking at maybe having a timing chain and put on, and a couple of other things just to get this thing to 300,000. You know, like I said, it's just a great truck. I mean, you really can't go wrong with them. Just keep up on the maintenance, do your oil changes, and that's it. So I hope this video helps. I'm gonna throw some other little stuff in here towards the end, and that's that. So let's talk about these Bosch spark plugs too. These are the ones that were in there. Okay, the guy bought, and as you can see, I don't know if you can see that, double iridium Bosch R6. Okay, these look like a pretty fantastic plug. They're built pretty good. Okay, they've got a nice electrode, you know, but there's not, the electrode on the AC delco is a little thicker on the very tip right there. I don't know if that's what has something to do, if the heat range is different or what, but these Bosch plugs in my truck were absolute garbage, and they did not work worth a crap. So do not get these. They're a little cheaper, whatever, but if you're worried about the price, realistically, go online and look up the AC delco if you have a 5.3 2000 GMC. Now it's up to you to figure out what cross-reference vehicles you can use these on. Okay, so there you can see it, AC delco, and where's it? Right there. We have a 41-162 AC delco with a .40 gap. Okay, and if you don't, at least get you one of these or a feeler gauge so that you can check the gap on each one to make sure that they're consistent. If they're not, I'm going to recommend you go get a gap tool or something. And then also, for doing this, oh geez, sorry about that. I got big old boots on. I went to AutoZone and got like these. There's 3 of them. I only got 2 right here. This is a 5/8. Okay, and that's what it's going to take. This has like a rubber, no, actually this one has a magnetic deal in it. So like when you put the plugs in, the old ones have a rubber, you pull them out and then the rubber comes off, you know. But as long as you don't jar them, you know, like you can still shake them around a little bit. And these are nice too, because you could, some cars you can't get a ratchet in there, you know, like there's just not enough room, or you have something right here and you can back it out, but then you can't get your ratchet off. So this has the provisions. You can use a box wrench. I don't know what size it is, but you can just stick this on the plug in there and then use your box wrench and go like that. Or if you have one of those ratcheting wrenches, you can even use that. They're freaking awesome, and I love them. And what else? I also, for doing my Chevy, this is the only extensions I needed. I have one of these. It's a yeah, it's a Duralast AutoZone 2, and then I want to believe a 6-inch extension. This, I can't remember how, but like this is just what I used. This combination of either this one, or these combined in that truck, and it's really, you can do it in about a half hour, but you want to make sure that it's freaking, you know, not too hot but warm enough you can get the plugs out. And this one right here, that's my dirtiest one, and it's still not that bad, you know. And I want to say that this might have been the cylinder that was misfiring the most with these, because I have them laid out here. That is the passenger side firewall, and then so on. It's the driver side firewall, and so on. I'm missing one. I wonder if my kid got one. Huh. Well, anyways, there should be 8 of them. I don't know where it went, but that's that, man. So great truck. So 6 quarts of oil. You run the 530 in them. I mean, all your stuff is just right here. Super easy to get to. Common problems with these trucks. Okay, you got your doors. I don't know if you can see that, but you know, the door hinges are bad. The seat rips. Most of my gauges work. Now I do get the ABS and the brake light on. Let's see here. Yeah, I got the ABS and brake light on. I put the Bluetooth stereo in. I ran all the wires nice. Missing some knobs for the power seat. But the problem I was having, let's see here. Put it in drive. See, no misfire. Fucking mint. Now I did put a new bezel on right here, and then I replaced these strikes.